Hello everyone, this is the third tutorial for basketball design, and here I'm going to solve another problem with precision difference. So let me explain what I've already done. I did one tutorial and video to design this centerpiece where the entire thing was drawn with precision, kind of a technical approach, drawing everything. Then I followed a tutorial designed by David, this one, which was an ingenious way, much simpler, using bending. The problem was that it's more of an artistic approach, and I'm not sure how you can make sure this piece that is being bended, that is actually the depth is exact, because what happened is you had to like scale it down because you designed the flow was kind of like over here, a torus with a hole inside, and then bended it, but here is a shorter. So the designer scaled it down a little bit and then bend it. I'm sure it was calculated and it's good, and the designer is talented and knows what he's doing. But for me, I would have a difficulty calculating this exactly how much I have to scale it down and do it. So I went ahead here and I did another tutorial, which is the same idea as David. Actually, I didn't bend it. I didn't focus on the exact values, how much I bend it, so it looks a little bit different, but it's the same approach, the exact same thing. But the difference is, instead of using torus with a hole and cut out just one piece directly, cut out this, I wanted to show how can I, if I don't know how to calculate and I want to have the depth of the cut to be exact, precise, how can I do it? The technical approach, I know how to do it because I've drawn it, and then I used follow path with a rectangle, which was giving me the exact way I wanted. But how can I do it over here? So this is all what this tutorial is about, so let me show you how I did it. Okay, so I've loaded here this tutorial, and I'll start the approach and explain what I do. So first of all, I'm just using the max. I explained in the other video that this changes actually will increase, you will allow doing more, and I'm just lifting it up to 100, actually 50 I did it. Lifting it up over here because I should have space what I'm going to do the next, so it shouldn't crash into the grid. Okay, so what we're going to do now here is, instead of using a torus that has a hole, I'm actually going to use a cylinder, and all I'm doing is I'm doing a thinned out cylinder and positioning it in the center of this. Now I make this so big, 100. I could have made it, anything that is a bit bigger than the sphere, but why not? I just made it big. And now I'm going to make the other one, and I'm going to simply rotate this to create the other side, rotating it at 90 degree. And so far it's the same flow as both other tutorials. The only difference here is that it's a solid, it's not a hole, it's a cylinder that is filled inside. So this will basically make a cut. Okay, so now I'm going to continue doing the next rotation. I'm just going to go next. It's basically the same idea, just positioning these other pieces. And so far it's the same flow what David did. So basically positioning, I didn't focus at this point the exact numbers, how much I'm moving it, but it's just the flow that you have three pieces over here. One is the center one that we're going to keep, one is center one the other direction, and then these two and two sides that I need to bend. So now I'm going to bend this, and again it's the same flow but a little bit different, the tools, the way I use it. But he's using the same thing over here. He just does one and then uses copy offset to make the other side copy. I just made the copies here. It doesn't matter. But now I'm going to make this, bend this like this, and then deselect this and select the other one. This is actually another interesting thing. If you're going to deselect normally, the way that if you deselect, it will actually close the panel, because the bend tool will not stay open if you have nothing selected. So in real life, what I need to do is, I do this quite often when I have many to do this. I'm going to select first the other one, so I have both selected at this point, and then I'm going to deselect the first one. So in this case, it saves me from closing and opening the tool. It works. But as I explained in my previous video, actually, that the tutorial has a mind of its own. It's actually sorting the things over here, and then they do it the way they want to do. So yeah, that's how it works over here. Okay, so the idea here is to bend this, the other, in 80. So I made the other one minus 80, this is 80. So now I just need to select all of these meshes together, and I'm simply gonna combine them together, stitch and scoop to combine them. So okay, so now what we have here is the cylinder. If I'm going to use now this end to basically to cut out, it will actually make a hole because there is solid. So it will basically slice it, kind of this sphere will be sliced into pieces through and through, a complete cut. So, and this is actually what I'm going to use now, show you the idea how you can use this approach to make it good. Okay, so now I'm going to inverse select to select this one, because I'm going to make a copy of this tool, of this sphere. So I make a copy, and here's the idea what I'm going to do. I'm going to scale down the copy to make it smaller, a little bit smaller, by how much I want the depth cut to be. So I want this to be 98, so basically I want the depth of the cut to be just 2. And now I'm selecting these two, and I go to stitch and scoop to remove, and I'm going to remove the cylinder. So what's happening over here is that when you remove the cylinder, what you end up happening here is, you can see it from the image, I can't in the tutorial hide this, show it, but you have the hole made inside in this. In this piece is already cut out, and it's cut out with a hole that the inside circumference is basically just 90 based on the 98 cut, which means it leaves it a little bit deeper in, because if I removed a 98, a smaller sphere, meaning is if this sphere is 100, means it will stick in just 2 into this sphere. So now I'm going to go to the coloring, and I'm going simply to color this, and I'm going to give it a I have to type in the value, okay, and now I'm gonna inverse select to color this one, and the same idea, have to type in the value here, which is okay. So once I have these two, I can go now stitch and scoop and simply remove this outside shapes, these cylinders, and here you go. And this is basically all we have done. So it's the same approach what David did, it's exact same thing. The only difference is that I made it in a way, so let me just show you, I'll undo and just show you the concept. So I'm going to undo over here, and if I have this, even before the copies, if I have these two things, let me just show you what happens if I remove it. So if I'm going to remove now this, let me isolate the cylinder. So you see it made the cuts all the way through. It basically slices this. And what I did afterwards is, if I'm going to do what I do now, which is basically removing this, the way I did it, I removed basically not removing these pieces, but removing the cylinder from it. And I left with this piece over here. Let me isolate this, you'll see. What I did is I made these holes. So that's basically the way I did it. So you get these holes. And once you have these holes, because I made it to 98, meaning is the hole over here is just 98. And if I put in the new cylinder, which is 100, the original cylinder, then that means it will stick in by 2. So you have an exact precise cut. So yeah, so design flow is the same as David did. It's just a different approach. Instead of using a torus that comes with the hole, and then when you bend them, you may not get the exact precision, how to make sure they're exact thick. So I just use a solid and then use the cut out to make sure that it stays the exact thickness. So that's basically it. I hope this was helpful, and let me know in the comments if you want to show anything else. Thank you. Bye.